Hi everyone, this is Noah Sandler from Mtgo Academy, and today we're going to be doing a Legacy Cube single elimination draft. So let's jump into Q. There have been some changes this time around, and possibly some of the biggest changes that they've had since the inception of the Legacy Cube. A lot of individual card choices, like Vidalcan Shackles, Mana Leak got removed, some powerful blue cards just to bounce the colors a little bit. They added in kind of Aristocrats, a self-sacrifice theme, which is probably not going to be very good. I mean, it takes a lot of cards to make it work, and even if it does work, even if you do get the most powerful Aristocrats deck you can get, it still might not be as good as just an average version of, like typical archetypes. So that's not too important, but big important change is that they got rid of most of the artifact mana. So Worn Power Stone, Thrawn Dynamo, Mind Stone type cards, and that should have a pretty significant impact on the cube. So now you have to look to green for ramp, and 6-drop, 7-drop, stuff like Karn, Ugin should definitely drop in value. And I don't know, it'll change things a lot. I'm not sure if it's going to be a good change or bad, but we'll just have to see. So on our first pack, we have Green Sun Zenith, Control Magic, Elspeth Tyrrell, Goblin Guide, Dismember as the best cards. I think I'll just take Control Magic. I've actually been less and less enthused with Control Magic effects in Powered Cube as things are getting more Planeswalker focused. They're just getting lower and lower on my list, but in Legacy Cube I think Control Magic's still a really powerful card. I mean, Dismember keeps us open. There's a Stoke you could try to table with the Goblin Guide, but Mono Red isn't particularly broken, and they've cut some stuff like Shrine of Burning Rage, I think, and Sulfuric Vortex. So it's not as overpowering as it used to be. So yeah, we'll take Control Magic. Remove Soul, Crux of Fate, Hellrider, Hallowed Fountain. I think it's between those. So yeah, Hellrider if we wanted to do Mono Red, but I think we have some pretty good control cards here. It's either a Wrath effect, Fountain for splashing, or Remove Souls, pretty solid counter. I think all three of these are pretty close. Guess I'll go with the Remove Souls. It's early enough. I don't know if I'll be blue-white yet. If this was a Tundra, I would take it. But for now, I'm just going to stick to mono-blue. It's pretty common you're going to splash black or white if you're blue, and sometimes you'll splash both. So here there's Elspeth, Knight Errant, and Upheaval as the options, also Misty Rainforest. So a really powerful pack, and it's an interesting pick because I think Upheaval is actually a little bit overrated when you don't have ramp to support it. And so just in general in Legacy Cube, I've been less excited with it. I think it's extremely powerful in Powered Cube, or if you happen to be blue-green ramp, it can be really good. And there are some combos you can pull off with it, but now that the big mana artifacts are cut from the cube, I think it's going to be really hard to take advantage of Upheaval, because sometimes, I mean, you get up to 6 or 7 lands, you're behind, you cast Upheaval, and if your opponent has cheap things to cast, then like you're still gonna just end up behind when they replay their stuff. So I don't think it's as good in this format, and I'm just gonna take Elspeth. This is a pretty easy remand, I think. Like Cloud Skate, Hornet Queen. So green ramp seems pretty open. There's also Zealous Conscripts. We could go into a twin deck, but remand is just really, really solid. Cheap, goes well in any blue deck. Okay, Baneslayer Angel, Ral Zarek, Mana Tithe, Legacy's Lure. I do like Legacy's Allure quite a bit. Baneslayer Angel, if we're blue-white, is probably going to be better than it. But again, in Legacy Cube, I think control magic effects are pretty strong. And we're heavy blue right now, but Baneslayer Angel is just so insane against mono red, which can always be a difficult matchup for any deck. And it's just a good finisher. Can even hold off a Gristlebrand. So I'm just going to take that, and then, I mean, white seems really open, so I'd be pretty safe to just go for like a blue-white deck. Blade Splicer versus Negate. Seems pretty close. Haven't played too much with Negate in Cube, but it counters Planeswalkers. That's always good. For blue-white, if you have flicker effects, then Blade Splicer can be really nice. And with the way the deck is looking right now, we have Elspeth, Baneslayer Angel. I mean, sometimes you're really wrath heavy and play a bunch of Planeswalkers, and sometimes you're more creature heavy blue-white. Not really sure where we're at yet, but I'm going to go with Blade Splicer. Here we have Ravages of War, Lightning Greaves, Temple Triumph if you want to be red, white, blue, which is also good. Roast Ultimate Price. I think I'll take the Ravages if we end up being a little more aggressive. If you ever get board control, you cast it and you win. We have Karmic Guide, Brutal Expulsion. This is like the card Jilt, which is okay. They cut Prophetic Bolt for it, which I'm not super excited about. I think Bolt's better and more fun. I might just take Temple Deceit in case we want to splash some black. Okay, Baleful Strix, Righteous Confluence, Shriekmaw, Sun Titan. Sun Titan can be nice with Blade Splicer, it's a good finisher. Could also be cool with Tanglewire. Righteous Confluence. I do like that it can gain 15 life against mono red, that's huge. And otherwise is reasonable, so that's a pretty good card. And I don't think we need to move into black. I'm just going to take the Sun Titan. And Crux of Fate came around, so I'll take that. Mentor sometimes is good in blue-white decks, but I don't know, I'll just take the Crux, see where that takes us. Hero's Downfall, I mean, black's starting to look really open. Eternal Dragon's fine, but if we are like playing double black spells, Downfall is going to be pretty important. So we could move away from blue, even though our blue-white looks pretty good. I mean, we could also just not go into black even with it being open, but that's a pretty big signal to see like the two best black cards table at this point. I'll take a Read the Bones over Banisher Priest. I'm not a huge fan of Banisher Priest in general, and so I think, I don't know, Read the Bones is probably going to be better. Don't like Erebos or Dark Ritual. I'll just hate Anger the Gods, I guess. I don't know why I'm hating it. I guess I could take Dark Ritual, just in case, I don't know, something crazy happens. Disciple of Bolas. So we're somewhere in between Esper, and our most powerful cards are double colors for the colors that we're playing, so I don't think we're going to end up being full-on Esper. So we're probably going to end up cutting one of these colors eventually. Time Warp, Drana, Path to Exile, Psychotog, Chromatic Lantern. I mean, one of the few mana-producing artifacts. They had to cut Coalition Relic, Temple of Silence. Yeah, also Ponder. This is a difficult pick. Chromatic Lantern is definitely going to be at least reasonable no matter what, since I mean we have like double colored spells, we have some 5 and 6 drops. If we're blue-black, Psychotog is going to be good, but I think we're pretty sure we're going to be white. Like seeing the Elspeth Baneslayer, white was pretty open in pack 1. Seems like where we should be, and then not sure about our second color. I mean, Path is pretty nice too. Might just be the Lantern, since we're not sure how many colors we're going to be, and there's not that much fixing in the format. So I think Lantern is going to be good no matter what. Where other cards might end up being better, like Time Warp could be better, Path could be better, Tog could be better, but I think Lantern is a decent hedge. So we have Toxic Deluge, Dungeon Geist, and Secure the Waste. So I think this is a decision point. And I feel like blue's probably going to come this pack. I guess we passed an Upheaval, but that itself shouldn't really put people in blue, even though I think the card's a bit overrated. Secure the Waste would be decent. Deluge would be very nice if we end up black, and it is splashable, so I think it's a reasonable pick. But Dungeon Geist, if we're kind of blue-white aggressive, could be really good, and I think that's where I want to take this deck. I think as like a black-white control deck, I don't think that archetype's very exciting. I like black-white tokens with a lot of disruption. If we're going to be control, I think I'd rather be blue, so I'm going to go with the Geist. And there is an Ashiok, Day of Judgment, Divinity of Pride, Dismiss. Ashiok is definitely the best card here, and yeah, I don't think we want to be just black-white, so I think I'll just take the Ashiok. Day of Judgment is also fine, but I think Ashiok's too powerful to pass up. No matter what, we have two fixers for blue or black, so even if we're heavy white, we should be able to splash Ashiok. So there's Duress, Vindicate, Languish, Unexpectedly Absent, Mana War. Maybe we can move out of white at this point. If we did, we would take Duress, Mana War, Languish. So we'd probably take Languish, I guess. And then we could take Vindicate and just try to fit everything in. So I would expect to see good white in the third pack, so it's hard to just give up on white at this point. This is a very difficult pick. It might just be Vindicate and get greedy. I don't think so. Okay, Liliana Vest, Sin Collector, Brago. Let's get the white back in. Do like Sin Collector a lot. Brago. I have a little bit of synergy with Brago. Can be good with Control Magic. With Planeswalkers, good with Blade Splicer. I think Sin Collector is probably better. Could still try to minimize blue. Excuse me. And then Liliana is also nice. I think since pretty sure we're going to be white at this point, I think I can just take Sin Collector. Alright, Shield Dread. Strand of a Free, Linvala. Shield Dread's a pretty decent finisher. Linvala is good if we're just a little more aggro. Can be really nice against like green ramp decks. Shuts off all their elves. I think I'm going to go with Shield Dread. So I might be pushing away from blue at this point. And maybe we'll just splash blue for the Ashiok. So Yosei, Windbrisk Heights. Heights is pretty powerful and just takes a land slot. But I don't know that we're really going to have enough creatures to activate it. We've got Blade Splicer, Elspeth that make multiple creatures. But other than that, kind of just playing fatties. So I think I'm going to go with Yosei, which I think is a decent finisher for the deck. But at this point, we kind of have all of our finisher slots taken care of. And we'll take Polluted Delta over Chainer's Edict. I was pretty sure we're going to be splashing at least something at this point. And a lot of stuff came back. Temple of Silence, Psychotog, Time Warp, Drana. So we know we would play Psychotog, we know we would play Temple of Silence. Don't know about Time Warp, don't know about Drana. So I think it's between Temple and Psychotog, and that's pretty close. I mean, taking Temple, maybe we could even go to play some double color cards if we get a lot of fixing. So I'm kind of tempted. Psychotog is really nice too. I'm just going to go with the Temple though. Night Veil Spectre, Secure the Waste. I mean, we're not fully blue-black. We could maybe just splash white But again, I'm expecting to see more white in the third pack. So I think I'll take the Secure the Waste. Yeah, I don't know how good it's going to be here. I mean, I'm probably not playing it since I already have a pretty good top end, but I think I'm going to take it anyway. Malicious Affliction, it's decent removal spell. Divinity of Pride, if we do move into just black-white. And even if we have a splash of blue for the Ashiok, we might still be able to play it. That said, it's not that broken. 4/4 Flying Lifelink is definitely good, but I mean it's not as good as Baneslayer Angel, so I'm going to take Affliction instead. And we got the Languish back, and we got Liliana Vess. So at this point, we could jump out of blue. We didn't see much blue in the first pack, so I wouldn't expect to see much in the last pack. So I'm guessing we'll be kind of heavy black-white control. And I don't like the archetype, but we have a couple Wrath effects, we have some Planeswalkers, removal, and then good finishers, so I think we could make it work. So we got Unburial Rites, Condemn, Underground River, Miscalculation, Venser. And Burial Rites could be okay just as a value card. Probably just going to take Underground River for the splash. Venser is okay. It's good with Sin Collector, Blade Splicer, Wrath effects. And Condemn would be nice too, since we're pretty controlling. Opponent's usually going to have the initiative, so we can sit back and be able to kill something good. But I'll just take the fixing. There's a Scrubland. And not much else. Mloku, Hippie. Let's take Scrubland. Can fetch it with the Polluted Delta. So cut Secure the Waste. Cut Control Magic and Geist. So right now we're just splashing Ashiok and we're black-white. And we can maybe play Seeker. Something to trade off early, and then we've got a lot of spells, so could go like Seeker turn 2, Read the Bones, Drain for 3 on turn 3. Probably cutting Ravages at this point, because it's going to be really hard for us to have board control before like turn 6. Oof, Jace the Mind Sculptor. Could try to make it work. Dragonlord Silmagar is really good too. Not quite as good as Jace, and you know, if you wanted to, you could force it and just fit the Jason anyway. I don't think cutting down on the white is correct. I mean, our blue, if we take Jace, I think our blue is similarly as good to our white. But if we take the Dragonlord, then we can just add that on top of, you know, wherever we end up. I mean, it's close. Jace is very, very good. And, I mean, we do have enough playables that we can make just moving to blue work and splash the white. If we cut these. It's tough, though, because I do expect to see more white, but getting past the Jace means blue's open. I'll take the Jace. I do like Silumgar a lot, though, so I think that's a really close pick. I'll take a Factor Fiction. Sober's also good. I mean, the fact that we do see that Jace at that point means that blue is open, and so my expectation to see more white this pack is probably off. And another Jace. Literal Core. I think we'll just take the other Jace. Tundra, Force Spike. We'll take Tundra. Also Murderous Cut. And, I mean, our fixing is getting to the point I could consider putting in Baneslayer Elspeth. Just Isolate Chapel, Serum Visions, Damnation. Demon's also okay. I think if I take the Chapel, maybe I can just jam everything in. Damnation would be pretty good, but we already have Languish and Crux, so it's not vital. So let's take the Chapel, and I think I'm just going to go super greedy with the deck and play all the best cards. Hurt the Waterveil. Nope. Kakusha's okay. Animate Dead. I don't think we're going to play anything from this pack. Animate Dead can be okay as a value card. If you're killing your opponent's creatures, or somehow you discard one of your fatties, you can get it back. We don't have much self-discard. I don't think we have any, other than Fact or Fiction, but I'll take it anyway. So, Burial Rites, well, we'll take the Miscalculation now. Since we're going to be heavier blue, it's going to be the best card in the pack. So, that was that draft was definitely kind of all over the place. Moloku, Into the Royal, Hippie. I think Into the Royal could be good. Moloku would also be decent. I think we're a little short on finishers now that we've cut down on the white. But I'll take the bounce spell. We've got a decent amount of counters. Wow, Silumgar came back. Well, that certainly makes Jace the Mind Sculptor the pick. And Threads is also decent, but that's huge. This is actually one of the best cards in our deck. So that was really nice. So Blade Splicer can probably go. This deck's looking really good right now. So I was saying, the draft was, we just flew all over the place. Just, taking powerful cards and leaving open the possibility of, switching back. And I think it worked out pretty well. Take Connections, probably not going to run it. Force Spike is fine. Nighthawk's okay too, but I like Spike better. So Connections can go. Talrand's not even that bad, but I don't think it's going to make the cut. We don't really have to even double splash all this white stuff. We might have just enough powerful stuff without running it. Though, Elspeth, Baneslayer, maybe both of those we can fit in. They might be strong enough to warrant kind of pushing for them. And maybe Sun Titan. Sun Titan's also kind of cool with Animate Dead. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're at 25 spells right now. So we could just cut the white cards and do a splash of white, but they're pretty powerful. Baneslayer is just about game over in some matchups, so it seems worth stretching for. And Profane Command. Don't have too many creatures, but the ones we can get back are pretty nice. And we also don't have, our deck isn't that top heavy, so it's pretty nice as a mana sink late game. I like the Liliana Vest. We can search for a Wrath Effect, we can search for Jace the Mind Sculptor, Silumgar, so we have some pretty powerful things to get with it. Oh, also Crux plus Silumgar is really good. So Read the Bones seems good. Maybe Affliction could get cut. I don't know, thinking maybe cut more of the white. We want 17 lands. We have to cut one card right now. So it could be Into the Royal, Read the Bones, Profane Command, or some of the white cards. I guess I'll actually take a look at the mana base. I think that could help me make this decision, just to see, if we could use more black and blue sources, because it looks like we have a lot of fixing. But I'll just check to be sure, see if we can afford to have enough white for Elspeth and Baneslayer. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sources of white if we play 3 planes. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sources of blue. Definitely going to want more of that. I mean, we can go down to 8 sources of white pretty easily, so this puts us at 9 sources of blue, which I think I'd like 10, but 9 is you know, it's enough. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sources of black. I think 9's okay. So, I mean, I would like to go a little less white, a little more black and blue. So I think this is 10 sources of blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 10 sources of blue. I'm pretty happy with that. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sources of black. That's fine. And then 7 sources of white. There's 2 double-colored spells, 4 cards in total. If we're stuck with a Baneslayer or an Elspeth in our hand, I think we'll still have plenty of other things to do. So I don't think we're going to lose too many games being screwed out of white mana. There's only 2 cards that we're going to be hurt by not having the double white with, and both of them have a pretty big impact on the game when you actually cast them. So I think this mana base actually works out pretty well. So we're going to cut 1 card. So might just be into the Royal. I like Read the Bones, I think, a little bit better. Just on curve. It's a pretty decent turn 3 play. So, yep. Oh, I get 1 more land. So I guess I could put a plains in. So I have 8 sources of white, 10 and 10. Wouldn't hate to have 11 of either blue or black as well. Yeah, I'll go 1 more blue. Really important to have double blue on turn 4. Okay, submit, and I'll see you for round 1. Okay, ready for round 1. So we'll keep this hammer on the draw. If we get a 3rd land, we can go Lantern, and that lets us cast Elspeth or Jace. Opponent mulls to 6. And puts a card on bottom. And they top from the temple. And we'll temple, definitely keeping Miscalc on top. It gives us a good turn 2 play. Opponent suspends Search for Morrow. Plays Hark. So I'll miscalc most things that I can counter here. I plan to tap out for the next few turns. Go Lantern and then a Planeswalker before I'll be able to miscalc again. And I just want to, like, anything they play that could potentially threaten my Planeswalkers, I'll just take care of. If I draw a Fetch or a Tundra, I could also consider just holding up Miscalc again. Like, if they just pass on their turn, I'll draw, like, blue or white source. It's probably worth it just to, okay, suspend vision. Probably worth it just to keep Miscalc up again. Just protect my Planeswalkers more. So they suspend vision first, then they play Tree Speaker. Had they done it the other way, I couldn't miscalc here. I am going to miscalc. the bones. That's also pretty tempting. It avoids something like Relic Sage. And we'll probably find a land off of it. Though I guess we need like specifically blue or white land. Helps us hit future drops. Yeah, I think I'll read. Can put most spells on the bottom except for really good stuff. Scrubland's good. Yeah, Remand's good too. We can either go for Elspeth or Lantern into Remand. Oh, we can Remand the Ancestral Vision. That's going to be insane. So, top. So, because of that, there's no reason to just leave up Remand until Vision comes off. So, I'm probably just going to go for Elspeth next turn. Elspeth does a pretty good job of protecting herself. Opponent just attacks for 1. Yeah, let's go with Elspeth. Could go Lantern, leave a Spike, but again, I don't really want to Remand until the Vision comes out, and so I just get Elspeth out there, start pumping her up. And our opponent is Ramp, and they're playing 4 colors, which is unusual. Usually just want to get up to your like 7 and 8 mana green spells and colorless spells. Oh, Pestermite. Okay. So I guess they've mixed a twin combo into a green ramp deck. I mean, pretty unlikely they have it here. So probably fine. Just have 1 card in hand to draw on 1 card. And they would just play Pestermite just to get after my Elspeth. So I'm probably actually going to Profane Command to kill the Pestermite, and because my Elspeth would die next turn. Also lets me keep up Remand for Spike. Or I could go Lantern into it. That actually seems better. Other than Force Spike, opponent only has 1 card in hand. Other than Force Spike, I feel pretty safe. And getting the Lantern out definitely helps. Yeah, attack for 1. Opponent could attack with Hierarch. Then we could chump it, but we could prevent that if we just leave the soldier back. Then they wouldn't want to trade their Hierarch with our double block. So I think that works out a little bit better. And then with the Lantern out, we have plenty of blue mana, so we can cast Jace and leave up Remand for the Ancestral Vision. If we get a land, we could also hold up Force Spike, which, since the opponent is, playing a ramp deck, they might have like 7 and 8 mana cards that they would tap out for, like Avenger of Zendikar. So they have Wall of Blossoms that they get into play. It's fine. And I wouldn't really mind plussing on Jace either. Since the opponent has very specific cards that they want to hit, like really expensive fatties and pieces of a twin combo. So we have a pretty good idea of like what we want to remove with Jace, and we have plenty of good stuff in our hands, so I don't think we need to draw cards necessarily. so they can have lands. So pretty effective remand. Opponent's got to have to wait another 4 turns to draw their cards. And the game might not last that long. So at this point I'm going to start flying in the Elspeth tokens. I guess opponent's probably going to send Shardless in. And I mean, I could triple block to kill it, but that doesn't seem too good. I think I'd rather just trade 1 token for the chump. Like I can basically trade 2 tokens to kill the Shardless Agent. Is that worth it? Yeah, maybe. I mean, with the Hierarch, it's like killing a small creature doesn't change too much, but I think I'll kill it. Whisperwood. So that's a card that's pretty good to Dragonlord Silumgar, because opponent just sacrifice it. Shieldred, that's good. So making a token, and let's just plus Jace, I think. Yeah, we're going to put you on the bottom. If opponent has an extra land in hand, then they could cast it through a Force Spike, so let's just get down to the bottom. So opponent should really sacrifice that, but it looks like they're F6'd. So that's good for us. Because, I mean, if they want to kill our Silumgar, we can always just sack Whisper down anyway, so they might as well just sacrifice it there. So I'll keep plussing Jace. We can get in for a lot of damage this turn. Opponent's dead next turn. If we can just keep something lame on top. Terminate. So we attack for 10. They go to 8. They kill Silumgar. We sack Whisperwood. We get Shieldred. I think we're okay giving them Terminate. Just want to avoid something that actually kills us. So let's give this flying. Could also give the Manifest token flying, attack with everything, and then Shieldred. If the opponent wants to chump, oh no, if the opponent wants to chump, then the Shieldred gets something extra. As long as the Manifest card isn't something really big, that play works out pretty well. But I mean, this does give us lethal next turn, so I'll just make this play. Like, don't even give him the option of jumping. Okay, they concede. They'll take my word for it that the top card isn't the card that gets them out of this. I mean, the opponent has black mana. We haven't seen what that's for yet. It could be for the 7 mana Garruk or Vraska. So, Animate Dead can be cool against opposing Hornet Queen. Affliction or Into the World could maybe protect against the twin combo. I kind of like getting Into the World in. And Command could go. I think the Wrath effects are still pretty good. Control magic effects are good. Okay, I'm happy with this. This hand's really nice. So miscalc means we're not going to fall behind we're not going to fall too far behind early. And we have a Languish to get some card advantage, and Factor Fiction means if the Languish isn't going to be really good, we can just hold on it and do something else on turn 4. Opponent puts card on top. Draw Elspeth. Ancestral Vision, suspend. Don't have the remand this time. Opponent plays some small creature, probably just let it happen and set up a good Languish. A follower's fine. Not going to cycle a miscalc, though I would like to draw into the remand. Suppose if we Factor Fiction to remand, opponent probably splits it 1 and 4, so I don't want to get their vision remanded again. Okay, Hierarch. Tree Speaker. I think I want to cast Elspeth, or I could just Languish here. And hopefully opponent doesn't have like opposition. Could also just pass. Passing's nice too. Passing's really good. So if opponent does something like opposition, we just miscalc it. And if they just play more creatures, then we Factor Fiction end a turn, followed by Languish. So, I mean, there's really not much that can go wrong with this line. So I think playing Elspeth is pretty good, playing Languish is pretty good, but I think this is actually better. Like, we have potential to get more card advantage out of it, and there's not really anything terrible that could happen. Suppose opponent like pumping and then having a counter is about the worst that could happen. But they're a 4-color ramp combo deck. I don't know if they have room for counters. Shardless. 10 cards entered. They hit Finehorn Elves. Okay. So looking at their deck, Ancient Tomb, Huntmaster, Manowar. Kind of a strange deck, I guess. Kiki Jiki, Splinter Twin type stuff works well with some of those cards. So Fact or Fiction, not a bad fact. Certainly like Ashiok if opponent's stuck on 2 lands, even with the Ancestral Vision coming off. Sin Collector would also be nice. Opponent would probably split those two. I mean, I'd rather have Ashiok, but if I get Sin Collector with Dungeon Geist, then that might end up being better. I think the most powerful cards the opponent has so far are not instants or sorceries, so I don't know. It'd be, wow, if opponent went Sin Collector versus, it certainly would be tempting to take the Sin Collector. Just, you know, they're that afraid of it. Like, they can't win if you resolve Sin Collector. They're going to give you Ashiok, Dungeon Geist, Lantern. I mean, the problem is, are they really going to win if I take the 4-card pile? And the answer is probably not. So I don't even have to take the risk that they're running a crazy bluff here. So yeah, I'm going to take the 3-card pile. Let's run out a Beautiful Languish. Since Sheoldred can grab something back, I'm free to discard a creature. So I'll discard Geist. Suppose I could also discard the Lantern. I mean, I don't yet have 7 mana, so an extra mana source isn't bad, but I have so much to do that between casting stuff and leaving counters up, I don't know if I'm going to leave Lantern up anytime soon. And by the time that I need to cast Sheoldred, I'll probably already have 7 lands. So Temple. This spot's really good. Get to resolve Ashiok with Miscalc, remove Soul Up. I mean, Liliana Vess is great. I don't know. It's very good here. Just start picking apart opponent's hand, can search for whatever I want. I don't. The only thing is I don't plan on tapping out for it until I get my 7th land, because I want to keep counters up. I already have so many things to do. I mean, I don't even necessarily need the 7th land anytime soon, and like eventually, if the game grinds out, you know, I'll have an extra Planeswalker if I keep it on top. So it's not bad. I can search for Silumgar. Yeah, I'm going to keep it. Just to be able to search for anything. If, you know, okay, I miss a land drop, I can play Liliana, search for Crux of Fate, search for something to get myself out of the jam. I think it's worth having. Okay, well, opponent does have opposition. We don't have to deal with that now. So in such a dominating spot, I'm definitely going to be hesitant to use my miscalculation. I mean, I'll remove Soul of Pestermite. Like, there's no reason to risk dying, but my miscalculation, that, you know, even though it does get weaker the longer the game goes on, I mean, the opponent's a ramp deck, so, you know, even late into the game, they'll, you know, need 7, 8 mana for things. Still be able to counter something big. But yeah, I mean, just random creatures opponents plays. I'll just let resolve, and I'll just save Miscalc for something that, maybe something that threatens my Ashiok. So we can go for Elspeth here. Pump up the Ashiok, make a token, and leave a miscalc. We hit... Whoa! Craterhoof, Behemoth, and Hornet Queen. Well, this makes Elspeth look pretty good, so they were pretty surely going to win the game in 2 turns, I believe. So next turn, make another token. Next turn, make another token. Craterhoof. Attack for a ton of trample. And we have miscalc backup. And then, I mean, we just have probably... The opponent has Avenger of Zendikar left, but we've taken some really good threats from their deck. And for what we saw in Game 1, like, they just didn't have too much going on. So I guess just protect from the Splinter Twin combo. Siege Gang. I mean, Siege Gang's good. It slows us down, but I also think it's something that we can actually play around. Like, I don't think it beats us, so I think I'm still just going to keep the miscalc. I mean, if you look at my hand, I'm not in a hurry to finish the game in 2 turns, even though I can if I try to protect. So I'm just going to play it like a little extra safe. Ashiok up to 9, and then opponent has to kind of threaten it, make another token. And we can play Baneslayer Angel. Hit Manowar Wall Blossoms. Because of opponent's Splinter Twins Siege Gang, it could be sort of bad. Though I think I just win if they do that. I would miscalc this Splinter Twin, they'd have to pay for it. And then I would just minus Ashiok. Okay, terminate Baneslayer. It's annoying. Yeah, so it's miscalc. Okay, they concede. You want the miscalc to be saved for the card that you cast and they concede, pretty much. There are definitely games that I'll lose because I don't just counter the first thing, because I try to be very cautious, and I allow opponents to get, to significantly improve their board state. When you can counter and like maintain a really powerful board state, I prefer to lean on, if this card isn't destroying my game plan. If this isn't something that's going to beat me, then I prefer holding the counters when you're in a really good position, rather than just trying to maintain like the perfect board state. Like, I'll allow my board state to decay somewhat, and have to struggle to deal with something difficult like a Siege Gang Commander if it means I can prevent something really broken. But yeah, on to round 2. Okay, ready for round 2. Mull this hand. Keep this. Keep that. Bottom that. We don't need the double white or the double black. I mean, I don't mind having extra land. It guarantees that we have Liliana, and it's an extra land for Dragonlord. But I prefer to get a good 4-drop, so like getting one of my Planeswalkers or Control Magic on turn 4 I think is worth aiming for, or Fact or Fiction. So if I see a land here, well, Elspeth I'll keep. Since I have Fact or Fiction, if I see a land there, I'd still just put it bottom. So Fact or Fiction can probably find me at least one land. Opponent cycles Eternal Dragon for Hallowed Fountain. There's Jace. Sin Collector can be pretty good against Jace. And then with the Elspeth, I can send Sin Collector to the air. That's really good. So what do we get? Or are we getting a daze? Sent you a message. Found the mana base that never came around. Oh, I did, yeah. Yep. Dismember, Legacy's Allure, Sphinx's Revelation. I mean, Sphinx's Revelation is a really powerful card, so I should consider taking that. The Dismember can protect Jace for a turn. Then I have Liliana Vest, Dragonlord Silumgar. Dragonlord stealing Jace and then minusing it to myself is pretty cool. I mean, yeah, I think I'll let my opponent have Dismember. Although, I guess it kills Dragonlord, that's pretty good, but maybe I'll force opponent to want to use it on the Sin Collector to protect their Jace. Yeah, we'll take Rev. So I'm in a really good spot. My opponent's probably going to plus Jace, or they can just minus it and let it die. Or, yeah, they'll probably plus it. Nope, I'll go for the minus. I wouldn't expect them to Dismember to kill Sin Collector here, just to save the Jace if they're going to have to plus. But this spot's looking really good for us now. So Sin Collector at Jace, especially if we can get the Liliana Vess out. Okay, go for Dismember, so now I can just go Elspeth. I mean, I guess Legacy's Allure can seal the token. Like, that's fine. They're still not getting good value on their cards. Why don't we just have himself draw a card again? I mean, I actually would like opponent to use Allure on the soldiers, so I could just give it +3/+3 and flying. Though, I don't know. Making more 1/1s is still kind of good. It's a 4-turn clock right now if I just pump it, which is kind of cool, but I think I'll just make more Elspeth tokens. So we'll attack before we use it, so opponent can't Allure, steal a token, and trade with both. Even though I guess if I gave it +3/+3 and flying, that would, I guess, so that'd be worse. They would end up with the 1/1, so. So attack with the soldier. We'll use Elspeth in case of Cryptic Command, and then I guess we're Fact or Fictioning anyway. We'll just go to their turn to do it. I mean, I would like to make a land drop, so you could main phase it, but right now I'm representing potential counter. Harbinger of Tides. Pretend like I care about that. Okay, let that happen. I think representing a counter can be pretty useful here. Like, we have a lot of cards in hand. We didn't play a land. We're passing with with, big combination of cards left up. I think I'll just jump here. Just keep pumping up Elspeth. And step. And we'll Foff. Miss a Confluence, that's a good one. Crux of Fate. That's not good. So we'll just pass. I could have gone for the fact when opponent tapped out for the Harbinger, but I mean, other than Miss a Confluence, opponent tapping on their turn to. Okay, they steal a soldier, put a little more pressure on Elspeth. Other than Confluence, like them countering Factor Fiction usually is going to result in me landing something really powerful the next turn, so I didn't think it was something that we really needed to force through. Don't have that many bad draws left in the deck. Archmage, that's good. That's one of the only cards we could draw that was bad. I think I'll throw the. I'd love to Silumgar that, but I think I'll throw Control Magic on it. Let's protect the Elspeth a little bit more. Miss a Confluence, really, really broken card. So we'll block a soldier token. And then we can chump Harbinger next turn. It passes. Ooh, Jace is nice. Opponent might counter it with Archmage. Force a will. Okay. I'm glad they don't have the Sphinx's Revelation. Would have been a decent turn for opponent to return their Internal Dragon if they didn't have something that they knew they needed to cast. They can still keep up Glenalundra, and then they'll have more pressure for Elspeth in 2 turns. Okay, Venser. Alright, so Elspeth is dead. But they only have 2 cards in hand. If we draw a land, we could Baneslayer, and that might be sufficient. Languish, I guess we'll do that. Kill the Archmage. Still at 20. Okay, I decided to return their dragon. Definitely worth noting with like the Crux of Fate. Could have it kill dragons or non-dragons. Dungeon Geist. I don't want to keep taking damage, so I think I'll just Geist here. Want to have extreme opposite problems. I think that's where we're at. So if we get up to 5, I might just Crux for dragons. So I guess if opponent has a land, which they probably do, they could just return it again. So that's not a very good play. I guess I want to go for Baneslayer. Cloudskate on the Baneslayer, again for 5, we'll replay the Baneslayer. We could also Dragon Lord the Eternal Dragon. Excuse me, if we draw land, and then we could like Crux for non-dragons. So that could be a good play for next turn if opponent plays like a Frost Titan. They have a lot of mana. Sphinx's Rev would have been really good. Could have something like Condemn maybe. That made its way around quite a bit. Could maybe just attack with both of these, leave back the Silumgar. And then Liliana, I guess, plus. Even Ashiok plus, opponent has 15 cards in their deck. That's a pretty quick clock. Well, let's make him discard. It's going to be a land, but I think it sets up future turns pretty well. Murderous Cut. So then they have one card in hand. So I'll make him discard it. Okay. Just go Baneslayer, pass. As long as there's no removal for Baneslayer here. And even if there is, I think I'll still be fine. But I'll leave the Geist back in case. Lingering Souls. Opponent not flashing back. Okay. That's probably good for me. So I think it's time for Shield Dread. Then Liliana, we could minus it, maybe go for Jace. Vindicate Profane Command, that's not bad. Jace still might be better. So command with one more mana we could get back Silumgar and then kill something big, but I'll just take Jace. Opponent actually has a swamp, so Shield Dread is unblockable. Wish I had like just a pure counter spell, because that's definitely what I would search up with Liliana. So Spellskite, it's not a problem. We can just Fate Seal with Jace. Oh, we get back Silumgar. I guess we're stealing a Spellskite. Might as well target the dragon. Force opponent to use Skite. They might forget. here's what we're going to do. We're going to go for Ashiok. XL top 3. See more of our opponent's deck. They do have Condemn. I think we'll plus Lily. Or we just go for the Profane Command. I mean, that's going to be lethal. Alright, we'll go for Command. I suppose it's better to Jace first. Unexpectedly absent. That's fine, just do it on the spell Skype. That's game. Well, F6, but let's see, is F3 stop it? Or turn off all auto yields. Doesn't matter, we're getting in for 6, it's going to be lethal. Okay, on to game 2. So yeah, I mean, opponent and I drafted the same colors. Probably ended up in a similar situation during the draft. I guess I just have Murder's Cut, Lingering Souls. It's a reasonable splash. They got the Hollowed Fountain I consider taking. But yeah, it looks like I end up with a lot more fixing. They have Force of Will, Mystic Confluence, Dismember, Murder's Cut. That's a lot of cards that, and Condemn. It's a lot of cards, Fencer, that are like really surprising, come out of nowhere. So I'll definitely consider those. And then Sphinx's Rev. Into the Royal could be cool. Affliction's okay. Animate Dead on their Eternal Dragon can be fun. I think Languish is okay. Yeah, they have Lingering Souls, and they had a bunch of random 2/2s. Alright, we'll run this. Ravage is interesting, though. They do have Force of Will, so even if they're tapped out, like, I can't be sure that it's resolving. This hand's really good. I put a card on top, so let's see what we get. I can't hate on Miscalc. I'll keep that. Make sure we can counter something on our turn 2. If they like play Baby Jace. Since I have Sphinx's Rev as well, like we'll find something Miscalc at some point. Though I would like to draw some lands as well. So, do we go for Ashiok? I think we do. I think we just have to hope it resolves and see if that happens. I don't think we've seen any counters that actually hit it other than Force of Will. Okay, hit a Force of Will. So, can't hate on that. Hopefully there's no Glenelendra this turn. And nope. So I think we'll go for Lantern and then leave mana up. And this game's looking quite good. We got that nice 2-for-1 on the Force of Will, don't have to worry about that anymore. And we can not worry. Oh, wow. Not worry too much about Mystic Confluence, and we might get one here with the miscalculation. If not, we would get a Sin Collector. Though I guess if they Confluence, maybe Sin Collector would miss. Sphinx's Rev for 2. I'm going to let that resolve. Makes it more likely I hit something with Sin Collector anyway. Okay, Dismember, Day of Judgment, Murderous Cut, and a Jace. Yeah, all these are good. I might just take the cut. I mean, our Baneslayer is going to get hit no matter what. So it kind of depends on, is opponent going to be playing creatures, and can we make Day of Judgment worse because of that, and since we know about it. But it's possible that we'd be in a spot where we'd have to play Baneslayer with the Sin Collector out, and then Day of Judgment's just going to get more value. So it's interesting. Figure Cut's probably the best removal spell compared to Dismember. It's close to costing 1 mana anyway. They won't have to pay any life. Yeah, so it's like, do you give them both? Tough call. I think I'm going to take the cut and then just play around the Day of Judgment. So we'll use Temple here. Basically want to keep spells on top, lands on bottom. Sure, I'll take that. Don't really feel like tapping out much, but at some point I think we can get some value. We can maybe run out Dungeon Geist. It's unfortunate to run it into a Wrath, but Ojitai. Top 3 cards, Villainous untapped. Almost at the point where Remove Soul would be better than Miscalculation. We already got rid of the Sphinx's Rev. There's Mystic Confluence, but opponent's basically going to be at enough mana already. So I think I'm going to miscalc here and just hold on to Remove Soul. So we got the Profane Command. We can run out Dungeon Geist and just eat a Day of Judgment, which, in that case, you'd rather have the Dismember Murderous Cut combo. So I think I'm just going to pass, and I'll just keep attacking with Sin Collector until opponent does something that I'll need to react to. There's Jace. So they go to 2. I mean, it looks like they need to deal with the Sin Collector now. And Force Spike, not looking good at this point. I think it's going to be hard to make that work. So we get Dismember on Sin Collector. And let's go for Dungeon Geist. Try to eat the Day of Judgment with that. Guess we got the Remove Soul for Glenelendra. So opponent puts it to 1. A main phasing Confluence. Consecrate Sphinx. 2, 4, 5, 6. Alright. It's another must counter. Oh, we can Profane Command back the Sin Collector. Then steal the Day of Judgment. I'll probably still just leave up 1 for Force Spike. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's really unlikely. But compared to just getting 1 extra damage in, I think it's worth it. I suppose I'm telegraphing it as well. But that's okay. I'd rather telegraph something than have opponent drop an Ugin.
Cloud Skate. Okay, it's looking good now. So, Cloud Skate, I mean, what do they want to bounce here? The Geist? Probably just the Lantern. And I can probably just go for Baneslayer. Exile the Wrath effect. They have like Venser, Archmage, Mystic Confluence. I don't know if that's a little too obvious to actually add blue there, but you never know. Sometimes people want to cast something pre-combat, and you can get them. All right, let's go aggro. Let's get the Baneslayer in. I guess if they unexpectedly absent for max, I could also get that with Force Spike. I think it's time. In case if they have Confluence, I play the land pre-combat. I guess I'll attack with these first. If it wasn't for Confluence, I'd wait. So Condemn. Alright, we'll go Fact or Fiction now. So we want double blue, double black. That would be this. Not bad. Okay, opponent just concedes. Yeah, Shield Dread and Jace would both be really good. Like, Remand would be fine. Languish, not awful to have. They'd probably split up Shield Dread and Jace. I'd probably just take the Shield Dread. Get back Sin Collector and all. So, on to the finals. Alright, it's finals time. Play first. Keep this. Great hand. Yeah, we've done some very good hands so far. So Delta can we have a Tundra. Yeah, Tundra is what we want to grab, and I mean there's some value with like Jace of waiting, but I don't know, Tundra seems like a pretty good grab, and it does give us actual real blue mana, so we don't have to Underground River. I prefer to draw spells, so I'm just going to use that right now. So, okay. I mean, this is looking really, really good. Counter on turn 2, Ashiok turn 3, yes. Snap counter that. And then start getting that Ashiok up. And then we even have like removal for something like Hero Blade Hold. This is going to be hard to lose. We hit Mother Runes, Fiend Hunter. Those are certainly nice hits. And a Winter Orb, so opponent's White Weenie. Frontline Medic. Crux of Fate. Okay, so let's start with Sin Collector. See what we hit, and then I might Fiend Hunter. Say Swords of Play. Okay, Swords and a quarter Paladin. So let's just get the Fiend Hunter into play. Hit the Medic. And things are looking really good. Opponent just has a 3-1. We've got active Ashiok. We've got a lot of removal in hand. And we're ahead on board, creature-wise. And we have an Elspeth. Could also just grab the Mother of Runes. It's never a bad idea against a mono-white deck. I think I'll actually do that. definitely seems hard to beat. And I'll just make a 1/1. Don't need to take any risks. Could swing with Sin Collector. I'm not even sure exactly what I'm playing around by not doing so, but like I just have the board on such lockdown. An opponent concedes. So on to game 2. Game 2. So Affliction maybe for some cheap removal. Blade Splicer can be good. Make sure you don't fall too far behind. Shield Dread, Profane Command get a bit weaker because they're a little slow. So maybe Profane Command out, and Splicer in. Then everything else here is pretty good. They'll, like, even the Shield Dread being 7 mana, like, it immediately kills a creature. So all these cards can help me get back into the game once I'm already behind. So Vest can search for Wrath Effect. Yeah, Read the Bones isn't the best. Maybe I'll put either Affliction or Into the Royal. I think Affliction over Read the Bones. Read the Bones is a little slow. If that's my first play is turn 3 Read the Bones, I think I'm losing those games. I guess it can help me find Languish or something, but I like Splicer a little bit better. I think I just need to survive the early game because, like, my 4 drops and up are really powerful. So maybe I could consider getting Seeker in as well, just something to trade off early. Alright, I want to start with Chapel, because if we go Island, then we'd have to go Swamp and then Chapel. Precinct Captain, that is beating. Does this make... okay, Soldier tokens. I do have Crux of Fate, and the Blade Splicer could be huge here. So, I mean, I get to counter something, and then Splicer can hold off the opponent's attack force here, maybe. Yeah, I'll want to counter that. And opponent is stuck on 2 lands, but if I Vindicate a land, I'm going to fall further behind, so let's just go for Blade Splicer. I mean, they might even have just Swords of Plowshares anyway, so killing a land might not do too much. And then them playing lands means they get to commit more to the board, and then I get more with the Crux of Fate. So yeah, like Mother Runes is pretty slow here. Mother plus Swords is definitely faster. So let's put Splicer on the 1/1. Go to 12. I mean, I think we just go Factor Fiction into Crux. Could Vindicate something, but I think I just need to draw into like more actual answers once I Crux. So other than maybe Winter Orb, I don't think opponent should commit anything more to this board. Like once I take this damage, it's pretty clear that I need a Wrath to get out of this. They have Nykthos. Jeez. Frontline Medic. Spell with X mana costs. Okay. I guess to get extra damage out of playing that there. Be cool if I hit a Languish and they get to give me 4 cards. I already have the Crux. So yeah, this is not a bad hit. I mean, if they'll Shield Dread is very nice. Like, it gets me back Blade Splicer and really takes over the board. So that's close, but Control Magic Sin Collector. I mean, with Control Magic Sin Collector, I may not necessarily win. Not necessarily after I Crux, where Shield Dread is definitely going to win me the game afterwards. But there's going to be one turn where I have Vindicate, and then I have to last one more turn, I get to Shield Dread. So, Makes it close. Maybe Shield Dread is the way to go. The Sin Collector probably doesn't do too much. I think I'll go with this. I mean, Control Magic could be very nice, but I might also just grab a small creature with it. Sin Collector might not do too much, and then if opponent has something else good, I'm still looking pretty good, but I'm going to go with the Shield Dread. And Murderous Affliction, not bad. Don't want to lose any more life at the moment. Delta for Tundra would be good. Let's go for non-dragon creatures. Okay, on the pure. It's not a problem. Ashiok, awesome. And let's leave up. Guess we'll go for Temple. We hit Relic Order, so I can hit the Honor the Pure. So we'll Temple here, keep spells on top, that's worthwhile. And pass. So, yeah, don't think we're losing this one. They can have answer for Shield Dread. Actually, being at 5 is nice. I don't die to Restoration at Angel end of turn on a future turn. So I can Ashiok remove the honor. I can't haste me, so I'll just exile again. Hit Path to Exile. If they don't kill Shield Dread, it's going to be hard for them to activate Windbrisk Kites, because they have to sacrifice a creature every turn. I mean, this might just be the game if they don't have anything else. So they pass. Let's get Sin Collector. Blaze Placer's decent, but I'd rather see what they have right now, just to know what to play around. So they do have Restoration Angel, and they have Winter Orb and Cloudgut Ranger. But this makes them sacrifice a creature, so Resto's not going to do anything. And let's get the Relic Order out. So I would like to prevent Cloudgut Ranger. So Shield Dread gets in there. Maybe I want to just Vindicate the Heights. And I think I go for Dungeon Geist. So it's 3, 9, 11, 13. I'm still one short. 8, 10, 13. So I'm not going to go for Geist. Guess it does prevent like opponent fetching, but I don't know if they're going to play fetches, so yeah, we'll just pass. Okay, so that's the draft. I thought the draft portion was really interesting. The games themselves, they're some pretty good games. I think the luck was definitely on my side. I had really good starts just about every game. Like a lot of early Ashioks, and you had my 2-mana counters a lot of the time early on. But I think there was a lot there with the draft portion. Just trying to read the table, and even deep into the draft, recognizing that we could move into different colors, being open to while trying to draft a 2-color deck with a splash. I was also open to actually going to full 3 colors for some really powerful cards, and we had enough fixing. But typically I would want to leave it at 2 with a splash. And then with that Jace the Mind Sculptor, even though a lot of picks in a row got us leaning closer towards black-white, when I looked at the cards we had, it seemed like we could maybe make the 3-color work, or we could, the blue might be as good as the white. And then the Dragon Lord Silumgar tabled for some reason, so I don't even know. Considering that, it was obviously the right pick, but I think it was still a close pick. So, hope you learned something and enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.